Pimblett do next? Because we know what happened on Saturday night. He went out there against Justin Gaethje. The man looked phenomenal. He looked really good. He showed that he had the things that I'm sure a lot of his haters didn't think he had. He went out and showed they had grit, determination. The man can take a shot. Scousers don't get knocked out after all. Whatever you want to say, right?
I'm a Scouser. We don't get knocked out.
Now look, listen, all jokes aside and all silliness aside, the type of things that we saw from Paddy on Saturday night, that is what all coaches want to see from a fighter. Yes, there's technical things that he could have done differently. And we'll get to that in just a second. And we're going to talk about what he needs to do to tighten things up and who he might fight next, in my humble opinion. But as I said, what we saw was a man that didn't want to give up. A man that could take a beating and come back. You know, the old be the hammer and the nail. It's all well and good when you're submitting King Green. It's all well and good when you're beating the shit out of Michael Chandler. But what happens when you get dropped multiple times and you go back to your corner and you're black and blue and your face is pouring with blood like me after Anderson Silva in round 3, right? What about that? Well, we saw that the man is not the type of guy to give up on himself. He's got the heart, he's got the spirit, the grit, the determination, whatever word you want to use. Warrior spirit. The samurai within him.
I'm a fucking samurai.
Yuri Prochazka would have been proud. That's for damn sure. So he's got all of that. But what does he need to do next? Well, he's going to fight again because he's still only 31 years old and he wants to be the champ. Now, that really impressed me, by the way, when Joe Rogan said, wow, you proved how tough you are. And he was like, listen, I know how tough I am. I'm not out here trying to prove that I'm tough. I wanted to be champion of the world.
I know how tough I am anyway. I don't need to prove it to anyone. I wanted to leave with that belt, but there's no other man I'd rather lose to than the highlight.
That really got my respect because that's what a fight is meant to be. It's like, we're all tough. Anyone that fights in the UFC, guess what? Surprise! We're all tough, okay? We can all take a shot. Well, most of us anyway, right? If you're in the UFC, you better hope that you can take a shot and you damn well need to be tough, right? So I liked that about Paddy. However, there were certain things that I didn't like. When the fight started, respectfully, he came out with his chin up and his hands low. And I get it, right? You know, that's the way he fights. That's what some people said. That's the way he fights. That's his style. And he gets away with it and all the rest of it. Well, he didn't win the fight. He didn't become champion of the world. And just a few little minor tweaks like tucking the chin, lifting the hands a little bit, using more feints and being more like a boxer, mixing up the arts of Thai boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, but doing it as a boxer. Moving and grooving, shaking and baking on the feet and then throwing your shots, then throwing the knees and the beautiful uppercuts that he had would have been way better if the chin was down, the hands was up, there was a little bit more head movement and he was moving a bit more like a boxer. You can still fight like a boxer while standing in a Thai boxing stance. All you got to do is turn that front foot from 45 degrees straight. You can still check kicks and all the rest of it. Anyone that says you can't, they don't know what they're talking about. Did this for 20 odd years, guys. I know a little bit about it. Another thing that he has to do, they got to bring in some wrestlers, man, right? The entire team at Next Gen, and this is not me talking crap about Next Generation. They're a tremendous team and they are producing a lot of great athletes. But I spoke to Luke Riley and Shem Rock and they said they don't really do wrestling practices. Again, I am not talking shit. I swear to you, it's just a suggestion. They do MMA, jiu-jitsu, grappling, okay? What we saw with Paddy and Justin was every time they clinched up against the fence, they would lean up against the fence and then Paddy would kind of relax and he would kind of rest. And that's the jiu-jitsu in him because jiu-jitsu quite literally means the gentle art. You use your opponent's strength and power against them, okay? You use their momentum, okay? It's a highly technical sport. Wrestling also is a highly technical sport, but you ain't relying on them. You are forcing the situation, and it's 100% effort and snapping them down. We saw it every time Justin Gaethje would get him in the front headlock, snap him down to the ground, stop pummeling away, right? You can't rest in those situations. That was jiu-jitsu versus wrestling. You got to wrestle more. You got to bring in some big powerhouse wrestlers. Otherwise, Paddy's jiu-jitsu is phenomenal. It's really creative. He's got flying triangles. He can pull submissions out of a hat. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Charles Oliveira, right? He's so opportunistic. The man is phenomenal. But none of that means a lick if you can't take your opponent down to the ground. So he's got to work on his wrestling. He's got to tighten things up a little bit on the feet. But all in all, listen, sounds like I'm being critical. I'm not. I was very impressed with what I saw. He went 5 rounds with Justin Gaethje. He got dropped many times. And he still saw the final bell. Yeah, he's black and blue and all the rest of it. And he will come again. He will fight again. But who is he going to fight next? Well, when you look at the rankings, you got Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria, what the hell is going on? I know the man's going through, and I ain't talking crap. Big fan of Ilia. He's going through a personal situation. He's getting divorced and custody battles and stuff like that, right? Okay. But the man's going to fight at some point. He fought in summer last year. Okay. He's not injured. I saw he was in the gym recently. The rightful fight that needs to take place is Justin Gaethje versus Ilia Topuria, right? That fight needs to happen, hopefully at the White House. Outside of that, we got Arman Tsarukyan. But Paddy ain't going to fight Arman Tsarukyan. Even though they got beef and even though Arman would love to get his hands on him, I really wouldn't suggest that right now. That's not the fight to come back. Then you've got Max Holloway at 4, Charles Oliveira at 3. We know they're fighting in March at the T-Mobile Arena. They're fighting for the BMF, right? Simple as that. So they're both out of the equation. And there's Paddy at number 5. And guess what? Guess who's number 6? Yeah, that's right. You named it, the Hangman, Dan Hooker, who is in action next week in Sydney. Sorry, this week. I'm about to go get on a plane. When I finish this video, I'm doing a predictions video, and then I'm going straight to the goddamn airport. I only got back from Vegas yesterday. I don't know what day it is, but I do know that Dan Hooker is fighting Benoit Saint-Denis. And regardless, that's a tremendous fight, by the way, and a tough stylistic matchup for Dan Hooker. Benoit hits really hard, but he's not as smooth. But we know he's got great takedowns, he's got great wrestling, he's got great BJJ. But he might end up looking like Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje if he can't take Dan Hooker down. Again, not talking shit before all you Paddy fans come at me, right? Win or lose, Dan Hooker is probably going to be Paddy Pimblett's next opponent. We saw that these two, they went crazy, right? Paddy said that joke that I defended because it was a joke, but a lot of people didn't see it that way. A lot of people said that he shouldn't talk about a man's mother, and I get that point, right? I do get that. Me and Paddy spoke about this on the interview that we did last week. If you haven't seen it, it's on the channel. Check it out, right? But regardless, there's a lot of beef between these two, and it would be a stylistically fun fight. And in the Paramount era, we want fun fights. We want Paddy Pimblett going out there, putting on a show. We want Dan Hooker also representing New Zealand, putting on a show for those guys down there. And they are ranked number 5 and number 6, right? So the matchmaking takes care of itself. There it is. I said this before the fight, and now I'm saying it after the fight. Sorry if I am repeating myself. Of course, if Benoit Saint-Denis wins, maybe he fights Paddy Pimblett. That'd be a good matchup as well. We probably get to see some good jiu-jitsu on display between the two of them. But outside of that, now we're starting to talk about Rafael Fiziev. Of course, he's fighting Maurizio Hufi this weekend. Renato Moicano, Beneil Dariush, and Michael Chandler, right? So you tell me, am I out of my mind? Or is that the next fight to make? Number 1, well done, Paddy, right? You should be proud of yourself. I said that after the fight on the TNT Sports Show. He should be really proud of himself. When you get to this level, when you step up a level and you get in there with the truly elites, then yeah, some critics would say that Justin Gaethje got knocked out last year against Max Holloway, which he did, and he's pushing 40 and he was going to retire if he loses. But still, the man's got a tremendous amount of experience. The man's got pure dynamite in his hands, and he is now a 2-time interim champion. So fair play to Justin Gaethje, and bloody well done to Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett versus Dan Hooker, that is the next fight to make. What do you think? Am I out of my mind or am I onto something? I'll tell you what, I'm going to get on a goddamn plane. See you soon. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, ring the bell. Take a breath. See you next time.